brought me sprinkle cookies.
So what, no fucking TV now? Hey!
Maybe she's from Jersey.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Maybe She's from Jersey. We're your hosts, Jackie Neese
and Alex Curtis.
And we have two lovely guests back with us for another Real Housewives review.
Today we decided to be fancy. We went to Princeton. I got Sacred, S-A-K-R-I-D.
Sacred.
It's in Princeton on the corner. It's the cutest coffee shop, very modern, very neutral tones, my vibe.
Just like our outfit.
Yeah, we actually kind of, except Cass, coordinated.
Earthy.
Yeah, you can be included in the earthy. So we all got pretty basic coffees. Pretty sure my little and I got just black cold brews. I got you a vanilla, and they didn't have hazelnut, so I got vanilla. Yeah.
I love it.
So I like it. What do you guys think? It's very strong.
It's very strong. I love a strong cup of coffee.
I like to be slapped in the face when I drink my coffee.
I love to feel like I just took Adderall and I'm like, whoa, hello.
Yeah,
we all had a morning, so
we
good.
all had a morning.
Oh my God, we did.
Can I just start and say what my morning was?
Go ahead.
Yo, my fucking car got towed in Hoboken for no reason. I wasn't in a no park zone. I wasn't in a driveway.
You pissed somebody off.
Mm-hmm. I pissed somebody off for sure.
You had a
we
very
know who it
Jersey
is.
morning.
I had a Jersey fucking morning. Shout out to my boyfriend for helping me out with that because I was a mess. But we got the car. We're all safe. Couple $100 later. I'll be eating noodles for the week. And so
It's fine.
yeah,
Everything's
it was a good
fine.
time.
Okay, so we're going to jump right in. Can I just say that in all of the years of Real Housewives of New Jersey, there has never been a 3-part episode. So fuck us, right? Because we planned this a month or so ago. Timed it out to where the 2 episodes of the reunion that are normally planned would be released. But no, this year they were like 3 episodes. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome, but also the first 2 episodes were just a lot of yelling.
It was a yada yelling.
There was like real no resolve or anything, so that was cool.
And I don't think we'll get resolved with 3 episodes. They can have 4 or 5.
Exactly.
No resolve.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that there's 3, but also pissed because we really tried to plan this out. And as summer's approaching, it's like next to impossible to meet up with 4 women.
Yeah.
It is. So we're just going to tell you how we feel thus far.
Yeah.
I think last time we spoke, we were up to episode 11. So let's just finish out the episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we finished with like the Nashville episode. So they're still in Nashville. This is the day after Teresa like lost her shit again. And Margaret's, I guess, like licking her wounds essentially.
I feel like the conversation between Teresa and Margaret was like going somewhere. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, as always, it just goes south really quick. Like, Margaret is well-spoken. Mm-hmm. Like, she was getting her point there. Teresa was somewhat receiving it.
I thought she was receiving it because she looked like she wasn't really combative when Margaret was not only explaining the situation, but explaining how she felt. Yeah. Which, like you said, she was very well-spoken. She wasn't, like, throwing things at her. She was just like, this is how this made me feel. And Teresa seemed like it was like, oh.
Yeah, there's, like, love there.
Yeah.
Deep in there.
I don't know why everybody just loves Teresa so much. Like, I guess when you meet her, it must be different. But yeah, Margaret has been through a fuck ton with her, good and bad. And she's still like, I just love her. That's why this is so painful. So I don't know why.
My thing is, and they brought this up too, like, yes, like the past is the past and stuff. But remember when Teresa was behind that whole thing of, the hair pulling with Margaret.
Yes,
I feel like
oh my God,
if Margaret could forgive her for something like that, I feel like her asking questions about Louis is not that big of a deal.
And like Melissa was saying, it's it was initially out of concern and she blew it up.
Yeah.
Teresa thinks that Margaret was digging up the stuff about Louis, but really it was already out there. So she's blaming Margaret for all of this, but it was already out there. And like you said, it was just coming from concern since it was already out there.
Which is always confusing because there's like that fourth wall. Like if Teresa said, I'm mad that Margaret brought it on the show, we would be like, okay, like that's understandable, I guess. But like we know that she's not the one like discovering all these crazy stuff about Louis. But I think that's why she's mad, maybe. She just doesn't articulate anything.
Yeah.
She's an idiot.
But think about it. If Margaret didn't have this conflict with Teresa, the whole season would be dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally every single episode, it's like a main contender.
Yeah.
This whole season without Margaret because she started the Jen stuff too, which started the Jen and Melissa, whatever that was.
Yeah.
I love Jen this season. She's redeemed herself.
I think in the reunion she was wild.
Yeah.
She's always wild at reunions.
Throwing everybody, and she has no friends now. I wouldn't be surprised
Besides Teresa.
Yeah, if by next season she's gone, because if everyone hates her, like I feel like Teresa's the star of the show and she could probably pull some weight, but it only takes one of them to convince Teresa that she's being, especially Dolores.
Yeah.
Dolores was like, you're being a bad friend to me by keeping her around. I could see Teresa dropping Jen.
Yeah.
And then Jen's gone.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like where Teresa and Dolores are right now. Like I feel like Dolores looks like a blind soldier. Mm-hmm. And like Dolores is the best. Like why didn't Teresa have her at her engagement? We're skipping ahead a
that
little.
was fucking wild. That was like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
As
and
a
she was like,
single
I'm
person, I would
fine
be
with
so
it.
offended.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, really quick. Let's just finish out these episodes.
Oh, yes.
We gotta talk about that. Okay, so again, they write that song, which I thought was really cute, funny.
It was funny.
Like I thought it was lighthearted. They were
Yeah.
trying to make light of the situation, and then at the dinner, Teresa apologizes to the group, and then body shame Margaret again.
Literally made my blood boil.
And the fact that nobody said anything.
Yeah.
They were all like, well, in the moment, Teresa had apologized. And I'm like, no, that was the worst apology. It wasn't even to the person she physically assaulted.
Yeah.
So I thought that was going to be when Jackie would say something about the body shaming. You could see her rolling her eyes and being so mad, but she didn't.
Even Tracy, who's like outwardly been annoyed about it. That was shameful.
That was
really bad.
Not okay. And especially to do that on television, like that's not it. It's so, I mean, I get so mad over things like that. And the fact that nobody at the table said anything, I feel like sometimes they treat her like she's like a 5-year-old learning behavior.
Yeah.
They're like, no, but that was a start. I'm like, it's still not okay. Like she has to be held accountable.
Yeah. They're probably exhausted. Like I'm exhausted watching her. I can't imagine living like poor Melissa.
Yeah.
Right.
Like dealing with this for 10 plus
and then
years.
she goes, Melissa, tell Margaret to shut the fuck up. I'm like, is this a dictatorship?
Yeah, like
What's going on?
Melissa, I feel so bad for her. And that's probably why she didn't have much of a storyline, because she had so much to handle already. Like, her and Joe have been, not Melissa and Joe and Teresa have been having like little combative issues. So Melissa's probably trying to like cool that down on top of the Margaret and Teresa things. And even just like, even though Jackie didn't have direct conflict with anyone, she kept getting thrown back in as well. So again, Melissa's like, and then Tracy was on, and that was through Melissa. So I feel like almost behind the scenes, Melissa was doing a lot more than we saw probably.
Yeah, for
and that was why she didn't have much of a storyline on the show other than like being there.
Yeah.
Because she was probably dealing with all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I just feel so bad for her, because that's a really hard situation to be in.
Yeah.
And I think Margaret is taking it gracefully. Like that is her closest friend, and she isn't really getting upset with Melissa because she like understands the position she's in to an extent. I just think she wants Melissa and everybody, like you said, to stop holding Teresa's hand. Like, this is ridiculous at this point. She's a grown woman.
Yeah.
That wasn't an apology.
And I think they all behave in a way, because Teresa really believes that this is her show.
Yeah.
And they all behave in that way.
Right.
That just like gasses it up even more.
I actually do think that being a part, the cameras are, we don't see the cameras, but they're surrounding them. So I'm sure subconsciously that's like in the back of everyone's mind is if we piss Teresa off to an extent, either she leaves the show or we get kicked off the show, we're doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
She said it on like Ultimate Girls Trip. If you watch that, she was like, "It's my show."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like her. So anyway, that was crazy. Let's see. Oh, and then Jen was trying to get Margaret to just admit, like, you're just asking too many questions. Like, can't you just see that? And like, there wasn't any direct conflict with them, but I kind of agree with Jen. Like, I understand where Margaret was coming from in the beginning, but at this point in the game, just shut up. It's just not worth. Why do you care? Let her suffer then.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but then again, it's gotta just be the show. Like a real human in that situation would just be like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't care. I won't ask anything.
Right.
Or like ask off camera, which
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like she's doing. She's only asking on camera, which if I were Teresa, that would piss me off too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you care.
And Louis gets so uncomfortable.
He does.
It's so visible.
Yeah, but I think there's also a way to go about asking these questions, even on camera. Like when Louis asked Joe for his sister's hand in marriage, almost. Joe did ask and be like, "I have to ask."
Yeah.
Like as a concern, which he took it fine. But when Margaret was asking, I feel like it was a part of that girl drama.
But I don't think he gave a very good answer to Joe.
No, I don't think
he was
so
just
either.
like, no, it's not true. I'm a good person. And like there were so many follow-up questions that should have happened.
Yeah.
And I just think in the moment I actually think that was such a weird moment to ask for her hand. They're like all out at a bar. Mm-hmm. And it was so random to pull him aside, and it kind of corners him because even if he wanted to have this like long conversation with him to make sure that when he said yes to Louis, he was making the right decision, that just wasn't the time and place to like dive deep in his past. And I think Louis knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was on camera, so what was Joe gonna say? No.
I feel like even as the show, they could have just had a separate scene of Louis and Joe grabbing lunch or something where he, asked him. And, because I feel like that maybe would have been a little more heartfelt too. But I feel like it also did start the part where the girls were like, oh, they're having a heated conversation. Like, what do you think they're talking about? And that kind of sparked the other thing. Mm-hmm. So
I wonder if that was the last day of filming.
Yeah.
And Louis knew, like, this is now or never. I have to, like, do this on camera.
Yeah.
True.
Well, they could have had a separate lunch after the fact, I guess.
And imagine if Joe did say no. Think about Teresa's reaction to that.
Yeah, oh my God.
The end of their family relationship.
Joe and Melissa can't do anything. Teresa can do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah. So at the very end, did we not? So like we can back up, I guess, a little bit. Like when you were saying how we thought Teresa was accepting Margaret's conversation a little bit.
I thought I was like, this is going good, ladies. Bravo. And then it was like.
Well, I think it was because Margaret was not, as she's explaining how she's feeling, she was explaining what triggered those feelings and what Teresa had specifically said. And Teresa was deflecting and like, well, I didn't mean it like that. Or you're looking in, and she's like, no, I'm telling you how I'm feeling. There's no negotiating that. And then it just down. And then as Margaret's shooting off things that Teresa's done, I got mad again for her. I'm like, I forgot about all that shit. Like, fuck her.
I think that was also a big thing in their conversation was a lot of the hurt that Margaret had was coming up. And she was like, you know what? No, like, fuck you. I think because in the moment they were both really communicating. They were like, this made me feel this way. I was trying to talk about this because I care about you. Like there was more, and they got to this moment of like understanding each other, and then Margaret started bringing up all the things Teresa's done, and you could just tell she was like, fuck you, I'm done.
Wait, never mind.
Yeah. She was like, actually, you're a bitch.
And then she was like, Louis, get over here.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
and then Louis was like, fuck this, let's go to our 15,000 square foot home. What the fuck
that was a
comment?
cringy comment.
And when they were like, maybe this isn't coming out, I thought the same thing. I'm like, ooh, colors are showing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a weird fucking comment.
Why would Margaret like make him that upset if this wasn't true?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And the way he reacted, it just made him look guilty on all fronts.
Yeah.
He lost his cool. And he was supposed to be that calm, changed guy.
Zen.
And he lost
just
it.
like Teresa is zen.
Yeah. And then Teresa, you can kind of tell she was like taken back and was like, everything's fine. It's fine. Babe, I'm fine. And then he was like, let's get out of here. And she was like, okay, yeah, no problem. Like, I think she was like, oh shit. So that's just a little worrisome. The fact that she was so taken back by it, maybe like I said, I don't think you know somebody after a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot to learn about a human, especially at their age. Like everyone has some baggage.
Yeah.
I don't think she really looked into it, which is why the season was the way it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's jump into the reunion. Jen threw Dolores under the bus.
Yeah, and I'm still not clear on what the big drama between them is. Like, I thought they were
I don't
good
think
friends.
Dolores was clear on what the big drama
Why
was.
is Jen so mad at Dolores?
Yeah.
Dolores
I guess
was
she watched
shook.
back and saw that Dolores was playing both sides.
Yeah.
But, like, Dolores also is the first to own up to her feelings to
In
your
the
face.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like she said, she was feeling one way when she talked to Margaret and feeling another when she talked to Jen, which is a normal human reaction. When you learn sides of the story, your perception changes.
It's just kind of, this is like such a weird place. And I feel like I've personally had this, I don't know if you guys had between friends, like even a group of 3 and 2 aren't getting along and they like want you to take a side. And you're like, I mean, I want to be a good friend, but I'm also not, like, this isn't my specific problem.
Yeah.
Like, that can also be very manipulative, that you're like, you have to have my side. And it's like, that's a really sticky place to be. And I think if something's really that drastic, like, for example, when, like, Jen put her hands on Melissa and Jackie got up and she's like, I think you're an asshole. Like, that totally. Like, those situations, yes. But something where, like, there's just, like, this bitchy drama going back and forth. It's kind of like, yeah, you're right and you're right and you're wrong and you're wrong and you're both acting like bitches. So, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
And I don't know when Dolores and Margaret got so close. Because remember seasons ago, like, they hated each other when Siggy was involved.
Yeah.
And then Siggy left and all of a sudden they're best friends. Like, Dolores hated Margaret.
I remember that.
Well, I think too, like when the drama starts flowing, the people on the outside, not this season or last season, but like prior seasons, I think Dolores and Margaret had an opportunity to connect. And then when things were happening, let's say between Jackie and Dolores, like Margaret was the mediator, I'm sure, at some point. So like maybe they got close through other conflict situations, but we all love Dolores. We can all agree on that. I love Margaret. We might not all agree on that, but I think Dolores was not the friend she should have dropped. Like, Jen needed one other person, and Dolores was probably the person to have. Because, let's be real, Jackie, Melissa, and Margaret do not like Jen.
No.
So, without Dolores, it's just Teresa.
Yeah.
I love Dolores so much. I'm so scared what the drama is with her boyfriend. Because they're like leading into it.
Yeah.
And I just like don't want to hear it. I don't want a Louis situation for Dolores.
Frank doesn't like him, and I love
like,
Frank,
what?
so I'm taking Frank's word.
Maybe Frank is jealous, and he wasn't jealous of
Dave.
the surgeon because he wasn't that cute.
And David
this new
and
boyfriend's
Frank are living together now.
That
my
was
God.
wild. That was so funny when he was like, wait, so your ex-husband and your ex-boyfriend are now living together as lovers.
I actually thought Andy was just, from the second he sat down, he was like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
He took no shit. He was just rolling his eyes left and right, like stopping the women, getting up, like flustered. I feel bad for him.
I feel like he's the only one who can get through to Teresa.
Yeah.
He is.
Because he's like, wait. When they all went in that back room, he's like, wait, listen to your brother. He's trying. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, they just said that to you.
And I feel like all people that actually know Teresa, I mean, they have watched her go to jail, come home, raise like 4 beautiful daughters, essentially on her own. They saw her be cheated on, verbally abused.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess, I mean, if I had a friend like that too, I would make excuses for her.
There's a soft spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's annoying.
So, yeah, the whole Jen and Dolores thing I think is so petty and stupid. And like the whole issue was essentially she didn't have Jen's back, and we were talking about this before you got here. We just think it's funny that Jen basically said, what did you say? Like, about the analogy between Jen being like, just tell me I'm perfect or whatever?
No, I don't remember. When did I say
You were
that?
like, Jen was basically saying, even if I'm wrong, like, have my back, essentially. And Dolores was like, what the fuck? You want me to tell you that you're great and perfect and, you know, doing the right thing when you're not? She's like, I was being your friend by telling you that.
Yeah.
And then that was where they kind of had that discourse. And then we were just like, no, we agree with Dolores, but at the same time, she does that to Teresa. She tells Teresa that she's perfect and great.
I was just going to say, Dolores is an enabler when it
Yes.
comes to Teresa, but no one else.
Right. And I think, yes, in the moment, that makes no sense, Jen. What the fuck? But at the same time, Dolores looked like a hypocrite because everybody watching was like, but you do that for Teresa. So maybe Jen was like, do that for me too.
Yeah.
We've seen it the most this season. Dolores doing that for Teresa.
Yeah.
We've seen it the whole time.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
Cass, did you listen to Dean? Because you listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
Did you listen to Dina's?
I didn't.
No. She talks about the real reason Dolores wasn't invited to the engagement was because Dina was there. And when it comes to Dina and Dolores, they do not communicate. And I think Dolores has an understanding that, like, Dina is her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be in the same room with her. Yeah. And that goes back to, like, the Manzo drama.
Yes.
Oh.
Years
Because
ago.
Dolores is still best friends with Caroline and Teresa. So, like, her maintaining those two friendships, I think she allows Teresa to maintain the Dina-Dolores friendship and side with...
They should have just said that.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know why she didn't say that on the reunion.
Dolores should have just been like, well, there was a woman invited who I don't get along with, and Teresa made that call, and I respect it. Done.
Wait,
think
can I ask a question? Oh, don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. If roles were reversed and Dolores was friends with somebody that Teresa didn't like, how would that go down?
It wouldn't. Dolores would invite Teresa. Let's be real.
Yeah.
She would shit on any other friendship.
She would tell her, I'm not friends with you anymore if you're still friends with her. Like,
Well, no, because this is actively happening because she's okay with her being friends with Caroline Manzo and she hates Caroline. Mm-hmm. So I guess I don't know. But maybe she didn't bring it up on the reunion because there's an understanding that Dina does not want to be involved in the show.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, I thought it was weird, aside from the Dolores situation, that Melissa and Joe weren't sat with her.
Yeah.
And she found out she wasn't a bridesmaid. Can we dive in on that?
We
because
have to.
that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Teresa is an asshole.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if we could curse.
I think we learned that they're not as close as we all thought.
And Melissa was like, let's just get
Yep.
this on the table right now. We are not that close. It is a facade for the show because she wants to portray this like tight-knit family. She's like, let's just, if you want to fucking do that, let's just say it.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
they're
oh my
they're
God.
family when it's convenient for Teresa to boss them around. Like, you're my family, be my family. But when it comes to their loyalty, it's just non-existent.
Yeah. It's
I feel
terrible.
bad for Melissa. I feel bad for Joe. I think Joe is deeply hurt by it and frustrated.
Because I don't think Melissa really cares at the end of the day, but she knows it's a disrespect to Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
And she's sick of being painted as like this terrible sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Which, like, are there rules for sister-in-laws? Like, what does that even mean?
Right.
You're a bad sister-in-law. Like, if I hear that one more time.
I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like in the Giudice Gorga family, it was like a rule because they claim that Teresa's parents were, you know, fantasizing about this type of relationship their family would have, and Melissa was the reason it wasn't close. When, as we watch the show, it's both players in the game, and I think
Joe
Melissa
Giudice.
came. Joe Giudice was probably the biggest problem, but Melissa came so far, and like, you know, you meet halfway. No, Teresa went like 20, Melissa went like 80.
Yeah.
And was willing, I mean, it could have been 2. She got a ticket on the show, whatever. But I actually think Melissa has traded the most and compromised the most.
Constantly.
Yeah. And always, her whole show, like, storyline, all of her friendships are always put to combat because of Teresa.
Yeah.
She's in the same exact position every single season.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
And it's such a dig that she's having she's having her future sister-in-laws.
Yeah.
And not Melissa.
Yeah.
Like she should have even had Antonia.
And
they should be involved.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it looked like Melissa was almost getting emotional when Teresa was like, if this was reversed, you wouldn't have me. And she was like, I would absolutely have you in my wedding.
She was in her wedding.
But I'm saying, like,
Oh my God, no.
How dare she?
That was insane.
Crazy.
I couldn't.
she was like, you should have had your wedding after I gave birth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy looked at her and was like, wait a second. Wait, what?
And she was popping out kids for
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
Essentially.
She was like, I should plan my wedding around you, but I shouldn't be in yours. Absolutely. You're so right. Thanks. Like,
I feel like Melissa was getting emotional when she was like, I absolutely would have had you in my wedding.
Yeah.
That's like
I think
disgusting.
Show aside, she has tried for years.
Yeah.
She has been there for her. She was involved with her parents. Like, she was getting emotional too, because she was like, what more can I do to finally receive your approval?
Yeah.
And I think in that moment she realized there's nothing I could do. I'll just never have it.
You
And
know
it's
what?
sad.
Now Melissa can have all the sprinkle cookies she wants.
yeah.
Yeah. I hope that Melissa feels validated by the fans, because she's never going to feel validated by Teresa.
Yeah.
Or her daughters, which is sad.
And then Joe came out, and I actually thought this was gonna like make things better. Like, Joe would have been like, oh, you know, this was wrong, but no, that shit escalated.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, she called her brother a bitch boy. She goes, sorry, you are. I was like, what?
I love watching Andy during those moments. He's just like,
He's like, Teresa, what are you doing?
I live with my sister and her boyfriend, who's one of my best friends. And we were like bickering the other day, and I called him a bitch boy. And me and Kate just like looked at each other, just like, and I'm like, yeah, bitch boy. like, and I just find myself like fighting in Real Housewives terms, and it's great. And she's like, don't call my man a bitch boy. And I'm just like, okay, sorry.
That's hilarious.
it felt good though.
It did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I feel really bad for Joe. And I think that whole scene where he got up and walked away, I think that was sincere, and he was really hurt by that.
I think so too.
And I feel like he walked off because he just like didn't want to cry. Like
Yeah.
he looked
Yeah.
like he was like shook when she was saying, he was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, we're on TV right now. You're really going to say that? And then he was like, I'm done.
Yeah, he said he quit. And then he brought up a good point, how I guess she was calling him a bitch boy because he gets involved in the drama. He was like, well, my sister and my wife are on the show. What else do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And they, not Melissa, but like Teresa constantly puts anyone she wants in the middle.
Yeah.
Especially then.
And Joe deserves credit because he created this Real Housewives of New Jersey thing that really is 60% of the show's success.
Yeah,
like,
right.
the people love the husbands.
Yeah.
And that's Joe Gorga's doing.
It was Joe.
So,
Like, he
Teresa,
started
like,
that.
you deserve credit, but yes, so does your brother and Melissa.
Yeah. I feel really bad for him. And then, yeah, Andy had to go diffuse the situation. Even when he was like, Louis, you're going to be a bitch boy if you get involved. Don't say anything. And then Louis just looked so confused. And then Teresa comes out and he's just like, babe, what's wrong? What's wrong? And mind you, you were saying Andy had to get through to Teresa. Louis just sat there. He's an enabler too. He did nothing.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't like Teresa. Like, your brother's sitting here, walked off, is clearly fuming, like, listen to him.
Right.
And then after Andy was saying it, then Louis was like, Teresa, listen. He annoys me at this point.
I think he also maybe doesn't know his placement just yet because, like they were saying, they were like, to be Teresa Giudice's husband or boyfriend, it's a lot. Like, people are gonna dig stuff up about you, and the thing is like, you know what you're getting into, and that's like what Teresa was saying. She was like, he didn't ask for this, and they're like, well, yeah, he started dating you.
The day after he met you, he knew who you were.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to understand the pressure because she's been on this show how many years? She gets it. It's in her blood at this point. Like, so I think sometimes he's like, I don't know if talking to her is gonna make it worse, if it's gonna make it better. Like, I think he doesn't know what to do.
I think he is tiptoeing around his reputation on the show. So
Yeah.
he's nervous, maybe because the camera, like we said, we don't ever, I mean, I did see the cameras during that, which was weird to see, but I'm sure we never see the cameras, but they're surrounded, and I'm sure there's like this like weird, people are watching me tension.
Right.
So he's probably very careful of he's very quiet.
Yeah.
At least on the show.
Do you think she's going to change her last name to his?
Yes.
Because her name is a brand.
You should zoom in on I just like reacted naturally. I never even thought of that.
I saw your face.
Yeah. What is his last name? Raelius?
I don't know. Because I saw in Dolores's phone, her name was Teresa Gorga.
Yes.
Yeah. But her brand name is Teresa Giudice. So, and she
that's
didn't
her
change
daughter's
it.
names.
Right, but she didn't change it after she got divorced. So I'm curious if she'll change it to his.
I think she will.
I think she will.
She's not getting a prenup. She's all in.
Yeah.
She's such an idiot. I just get so mad.
I can't believe. I really pray. They didn't directly answer that question again when it was brought up, but they made it kind of like a roundabout. It's our decision. So I'm hoping that someone talks sense into her and she just doesn't want to disclose it.
Right.
Because she'll look like a hypocrite. But I hope she gets one just for the safety of her, not even her daughters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That money, that reputation, everything she has, just think of it like this is for my daughters.
Yeah.
And don't think of it like, oh, I don't trust you. This is going to be a bad start to our marriage.
Right.
He should be like, no, I want you to get a prenup for your daughters.
Yeah.
Well, she keeps saying, like, he has more money than I do. He has more money than what I do. One, I don't believe that. And two, it's still
She's Googling it right now.
important to put it on paper that he has more money than she does. Like, that's what a prenup is. It's just saying, this is what I have going into this union, and this is what you have going into it.
Yeah.
Her net worth is probably, like, what, 3 million, 4 million?
Let's look. 3 million. It's not much.
I am a genius. He has, like, a bunch of companies.
He's approximately 2 million. So she has more money.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
she's going to keep making money because she has all these brands.
she is money. Like everything about her.
She is money.
So I think I'm very curious to see. I'm very pissed that we have another episode, but I'm curious to see what he's gonna say, because Andy did admit when they were like behind the scenes calming Joe down, like, I'm gonna ask you these questions. Like, you knew that coming on the show, agreeing to even just be, even if they were together, like, he still had to sign paperwork that he could be videoed and hooked up to a mic.
Right.
And, you know, they have guests come on all the time that aren't hooked up.
Right.
To Mike. So.
Also, like, for example, David, when Dolores was dating him, he was like, I want no fucking part of this show. Like, he had that decision.
Yeah.
And they did not do that. So.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I can't wait to. So Dolores' like new man is apparently like Irish.
Yeah.
So he's going to have that like accent.
Yeah, he looks like a Guido to the max. And I'm
Little
upset
Irish boy.
that there's drama already.
Yeah.
Me too.
Like, what does that mean?
I feel like Frank maybe is just, I'm hoping. Or maybe it's just the way they edited it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone, I don't know if it's a spoiler alert or anyone noticed this, but Jackie's not going to be on the next season. And we're all kind of trying to figure out why that is.
Yeah.
Because this was in on our, I mean, I like Jackie. I don't not like her. I don't necessarily like her. Whatever. This season, she was fine. I thought, you know, I definitely think the producers had something to do with her stronger eating disorder storyline. But regardless, she opened up more.
Yeah.
I thought she was more relatable. And again, she was involved in drama. It just wasn't exactly her problem.
I feel like she was probably blindsided by that decision. Because I didn't see it coming.
We were thinking, was it her decision? Like, at first I was like, maybe, you know, because the show stops filming like after summer, so there were months that went by that maybe she needed to step away for her own like mental health, because she was going through that whole nutritionist and like process, and who knows. I thought maybe that's what went down, was she backed off because something, you know, fell off.
I hope that's
course.
the case.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and she said no.
Yeah.
She wouldn't say if she was going to be on it or wouldn't. that makes sense. Yeah. But she basically said that she didn't know, and I guess it was up to the people of Bravo, the Bravo gods.
Sometimes, like Luann de Lesseps from New York, she's been made a friend of multiple times, and then she like got married and like does all crazy shit, so she's like back to full time. Like they keep trying to push her away, and then she comes back on because she brings the drama.
It's
so
so
I feel like the
interesting,
friend
though.
of status is kind of like a punishment.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to
but I
your
feel like
place.
this was her best season so far. Like I feel like I was like on Jackie's side this season. Not that I ever like I wasn't. I just felt like there wasn't enough to her that really brought that like pizzazz of like a housewife. Even though she's like so smart, she's so like well known in herself, like she's very like you should give everyone respect, we can speak like adults. Like I love that in her. And I felt like this season, like even the stuff about how she was in a sorority and her husband was in a fraternity, like there was just so much more into their storyline. I thought the fact that she opened up about that on television is so courageous. I don't know. I just felt like there was so much room this year for people to really grow with her. So it's interesting that happened now.
Maybe the producers think we all did grow with her. She showed herself well. They're taking her off on like a high note.
Maybe.
It doesn't sound like she's very happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the majority of their income.
Do you think Tracy's like replacing her?
I mean,
No, I don't. I think they brought someone new
Yeah.
on, and Tracy's just gone in general. I don't
She
think she's
should
even
be.
friend of.
I wonder how that works. Like, did they review Tracy's ratings? Like, how does that even work? Because
I don't
she
know.
had her own interviews. Like, it looked like she was going to be the next housewife, whether she was replacing Jackie or adding to the group. So if a whole new person just jumps on in and doesn't even get like a practice run, I'm going to be like a little confused.
She's not even on the reunion. So she's really not even relevant when it comes to the conversation, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I just realized she wasn't on the reunion. I forgot about her.
I did too, honestly.
Well, I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know. Maybe she backed out. Maybe she was like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Maybe.
I don't think anyone in their right mind would say, no, this isn't for me.
True. Except Dina and Caroline and Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Danielle.
Like, I've had enough, thank you.
And they all left because of Teresa.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
We can just talk about all the shit Teresa did during the reunion, like her spinning around and
Oh my god.
mirror
She's
on the
obnoxious.
wall.
That was horrible.
That
was weird.
I was cringing.
Yeah.
I think everyone, even in that room, was like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Wait, I love the skit where she's like, you ruined my night. Margaret's like, no, you ruined your night. She's like, you did. You did.
You did.
Yeah, Margaret's funny.
Funny.
Wait, oh my gosh, in the blackout, when they asked, like, when were you ever
Oh my
having
god.
Melissa's
The fucking
back?
timing. The fucking timing.
I
of
feel like that was on purpose. Because,
Yeah.
like, it was like, it would have been funny if the producers were like, we shut down because we tried so hard to find footage and we couldn't.
Oh my god.
That's what I thought they were going to say, but then it was like an honest to God blackout.
I thought it was like a spiritual thing of like Melissa's dad being like, Gotta get real quiet in here.
But she did have time to think of some random bullshit. Like when she was like, well, I told Jen to stop being mean to you. I'm like, well, that didn't work.
Oh my God, and
Yeah.
she did it like over breakfast. Like, yeah, that wasn't right. As she was like eating muffins, like completely fine.
Yeah.
She was still in her home.
And it's still happening.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nothing actually
Right,
was
nothing
resolved
changed.
between them.
Yeah, she's like, I said something.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
One thing. She had one thing to say.
I'm excited for the guys to come out. Because
Me too.
I want to hear what Bill has to say.
Wait. Oh my god, I'm backtracking a little bit, but the fucking part where Joe Gorga's trying to make himself throw up and they use the penis,
my God.
that was hilarious.
And he was like, I had to do it.
Yeah, he was like,
They
I didn't
make
even
the show.
think, went right down.
I love their relationship. I think Frank and Joe could have their own show.
Yes, they 100%
They
could.
really could. And I don't know if Frank's still dating anybody, but like when he gets a girlfriend, I'm sure she'll be another housewife.
Maybe, yeah.
Like,
you're
I
right.
hope they
Oh
get
my gosh.
serious.
I don't think he's ever going to date anyone.
I don't know, but think about it. If he were to get a serious girlfriend or fiance or potentially wife, she will automatically be on the show.
Yeah, she would be just around enough that, like, how could you not film her?
Like you said, who's going to say no to that?
Yeah.
She's the next housewife, whoever
I
she
was
is.
wondering, now that Dolores has a new boyfriend, how much will Frank be around next season?
Yeah.
Well, I think Frank's BFFs with all the guys, so I think he will be around. And
I hope so.
even with David, he stayed relevant when, like, I guess if David were different, he could have, like, pushed his spot out. But I think Frank actually has, like, a following.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Jersey franchise would get rid of him.
Agreed.
I hope not.
Just the camaraderie of the men. Like, without Frank, it would be different.
The best part.
And Frank's fucking real as hell. He'll be like, yeah, Jen told me to look at these pictures or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I said that. Like, as a guy, he'll get involved and own it. Rather, like...
I think he just has a big mouth and he doesn't mean any harm.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just like, come on, Frank.
But I am surprised by, like, Margaret's Joe. Don't get me wrong, I love him, but he never really sticks up for Margaret. And I don't think it's in a disrespectful way. I just think he's, like, really timid when it comes to those things. But, like, for instance, when Teresa made the dinner comment, I was also looking to him to be like, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Like,
I also
he's
think
there.
there's no space for him to stick up for Margaret because Margaret does it on her own very well.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that's
it's not
why...
like there's ever a moment where she's, like, shocked. Like, she's right into, like,
and maybe that's
defending
why
herself.
he doesn't.
Yeah, like, she doesn't need a strong man. She's a strong enough woman.
Yeah.
Good for her, Margaret.
The other male energies, Joe and Frank, I feel like just take over, and the other guys can't really get in there because their energy is just too much.
Also, Joe was called a bitch boy for sticking up for his wife. And then it was like, okay, so then do I stick up for my wife because I'm a bitch boy? And if I don't, then I'm a bitch boy. So I'm just a bitch boy. I don't know. It's just...
They, like, you gotta walk that fine line of, like, commenting on things, but staying out of the drama because then it makes you look like...
Right. I feel like there should be a moment where the housewife can look at their husband and be like, this is your time to get involved. You can say something now. And he'll be like, bitch, I thought... I would want to do that.
Oh my god, like Evan randomly getting mad at that one dinner. I was like, where did this person come from?
That was kind of hot.
it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh, Evan is so hot.
But if my husband did that for me, like that is like, that would mean the world to me.
I think watching back when Jackie saw that, she was probably like,
Yeah.
And he was like sticking up for himself too. Like, your wife messed with my reputation.
Exactly.
like, let's not forget who this actually was about.
That's true. There was definitely like leverage there for him to say something because he was like, that's not even my wife's reputation, that's mine. So go fuck yourself.
Bill like ran away in his Lamborghini.
In his Lamborghini.
Just like, no.
I think of all the men, Bill looks the absolute worst. Aside from the drama between him and Jen that came out, just in general, every season he does, like, is a fly on the wall, plays both sides, like Team Jen when they're having their like cute conversations in her closet, like that they shoot to, and then like he's like Team Guys when he's with the guys, and he teeters that line, but he like for like 4 seconds and then falls to one side.
I think he's like a try hard. Like,
Yeah.
he's a little nerd. So he like tries to hang with the boys. He gets blacked out and carried home. He like tries to be good to Jen, and then she's just like, no, Bill, like, what the hell are you even saying right now? Like,
I think also sometimes he's like, she'll come back from an event and she'll be like, yeah, I lit fires. And he's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Like, I think he's just like, that was crazy. Why would you do that?
I don't know if this is just like a thing that happens when you are married for a long time, but Joe would never put up with me if I did any of that shit. Like, I definitely expect him to not like blow up my blow up my spot in the moment, but like when we're home and they shoot the cameras or whatever, I would expect him to be like, yeah, you fucked up. I'm not getting involved. Like, this is your problem. You were being a child.
I thought it was interesting when she was talking about the affair and Andy asked, when you came on the show, did you guys talk about that? And she was like, well, yeah, he said that we could deny it. Everyone denies it. And I was like, that was their first mistake.
Yeah.
It was going to come out.
Yeah.
That's why I think
so
I have a
interesting.
little more respect for Margaret, is because she just came forward and was like, these are my fucked up things I did. I'm put everything on the table. I know I was in the wrong. here you go.
Yeah,
And she was never
Margaret's
like,
smart.
no, that's not true. She
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, I'm an imperfect human, and I hurt people, and I'm sorry. Like, I don't know.
And Margaret's not wrong when she was like, I can't break a happy marriage.
Yeah.
If you're this upset, you were already this upset. And maybe I dug up those feelings, but they were there.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. Again, I do agree too. Jen was like, it's more about my kids. Like,
Right.
now this is going to involve them. And that's when Andy was like, but girl, like, you knew you were coming on the show.
Right.
Yes, Margaret, asshole move, but at the same time, it was going to come out.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't just blame Margaret.
Right.
And Margaret did it because it was season after season of Jen coming after her and like trying to throw things in her face. And she was just like, you got skeletons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah.
And she couldn't even own up to Margaret that she was being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Margaret was like, can you just realize that you were slut-shaming me when your husband was doing the same thing?
Right.
And she couldn't. She still just fought back. And I was like, just own it at this point.
Yeah.
She looked really dumb. Unfortunately. And then, you know, Bill's just going to end up sitting there, and clearly we saw the clip of her being like, just fucking say something, Bill. I'm very curious.
I'm waiting for that. Oh my gosh.
And he just goes off in his Lamborghini again.
He looked sweaty, like in the clip.
Yeah.
He looked
like,
really
oh my God.
stressed.
Yeah.
And like all the guys were around him, they were all like, okay.
Yeah, that's why I think like he really is just like a timid little nerd and like doesn't know his place on this. But now he has all this like money and fame and he's just like confused.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like we said before, yeah, it's 3 parts, but the first 2 was like 3 major conversations and a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
So again, little to absolutely no resolve. And it looks like this is what makes me laugh like during reunions, because you think you come on the show, you disclose things that were taken out of context, you may clear things up, you may be like, we're now in this place versus what you guys saw, whatever. I feel like every Jersey reunion it gets worse.
Right.
Like they come on the reunion and it's almost as if not only are things where they were from the season or previous season, it's almost worse.
Right.
Like, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Well, when Jen pulled out all of those Instagram posts, that started from last year's reunion. The feud between her and Melissa was literally a year ago.
The reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These, as like a human, I don't know if I would be able to do these reunions. Like they seem emotionally triggering, exhausting. I like don't fight with people, but when I do, like I never make any sense because like my butt, I can't handle it. Like so, I would be terrible at these reunions.
Yeah.
They do articulate themselves fairly well, considering, like you said, it's very triggering and it's a lot of like, we've had this conversation before.
Right.
Like, I can only imagine how frustrating that is.
And then you just, out of the snap of a finger, gotta move on.
Right.
Like I would not want to stop talking until I felt heard and
like your
understood.
blood is boiling.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, next.
Yeah, and I feel like none of them end up, like they would probably leave feeling so just depleted.
Yeah.
Do
We're
we
just
think,
watching.
like, do they, because whatever, the reunion had to have been filmed relatively recently.
Yeah.
Because the show, the last episode was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So was the reunion
I think they filmed it.
like the day after the last episode was dropped?
I think they filmed it within a month. I remember them all posting about it.
Yeah.
But-
So that too.
They were filming the New Jersey and Summer House reunion a little early because Andy's daughter was being born.
Oh, right.
So it was a little earlier, but they got to see the episodes, but they didn't get to see the live reaction of like us, which like changes things.
Yeah.
I love that you know that.
I live, breathe.
How's
Bravo.
Andy's daughter doing?
Lucy is well.
Okay, everyone, that's basically it. I would say we're going to do this again, but we're not because I'm exhausted from this show. Feel free to have a very intense conversation with us when the newest episode of the reunion is released, because we will definitely be fighting with you online. It's our favorite thing.
I'm all over Twitter.
So yeah, thanks for joining. Again, thank you guys for coming back.
Yes.
And
Thanks for having us.
of course. And yeah, shout out to Sacred.
Sacred.
Whatever it is.
Sacred coffee.
In Princeton. Again, really good. If you're looking for a place to study, take your dog, whatever, check them out. Again, thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.